Hi folks, in this video I'm going to update my watch list. So now the Gameweek 4 is done and dusted. I've watched all the highlights on Match of the Day, and I caught a few weekend as well, including last night's game, West Ham and Huddersfield. So this is something that I've been doing every week for the last couple of years. It's something I find makes making transfers a lot easier then when it comes to the weekend. So what I do is, once I've watched all my highlights and I've watched all the football at the weekend, through team by team, and check out which players have performed well and which players are not performing well. So I'll show you how I do it in this video. This is a video I'd like to do every week, when I'm updating my watch list, just to give you an insight into what I do on a weekly basis. I'll just quickly, so as I say, I'm going to focus on the watch list in this video. I'm not going to jump into any mini leagues or anything like that. Another video on Friday, same as last week. I'll go through my transfer options and make a transfer in the video as well. Loads of midweek action this week, Champions League, Europa League, so hold off on your transfers if you can this week. Just a quick, before, I should mention as well, I've been sick the last couple of days, so I haven't had the chance to get out and get myself a decent microphone or a webcam yet. So hopefully by the time Friday's video comes around, I'll have both of those. So I'm just hoping the sound quality, it wasn't great in the first one, so hopefully it holds up okay in this one. My points so far and rank, 236 points. Overall rank, 98,000. So very happy with my start to be inside 100k at this point after 4 game weeks. Very happy with my team. So no plans to play a wild card anytime soon. It's nice to keep that in the back pocket. Looking at my Gameweek 4 score quickly, the business now that August is behind him. It was really nice owning the Spurs trio, Davies, Ericsson, and Kane. It's just a joy to own those three at the minute. So if you watched the video last week, I transferred out De Bruyne for Ericsson. So watching the early kickoff, watching De Bruyne get his 2 assists, playing much further forward than he has been, was frustrating, but didn't mind too much in the end because Ericsson did the business and got 8 points. So I'm very happy with the Spurs trio. Davies has been amazing. I'm pretty sure he's the top point scorer in the game after 4 weeks. So he's just a real gem. I know Danny Rose could put him under pressure in a couple of weeks' time, but he's pretty safe for now. And if you don't have him, this week if you can. Apart from Spurs, not an awful lot. Lukaku got his goal, and he was pretty. Zuma kept him pretty quiet. He got on the score sheet, so that's all that matters. 4-4 now, so he's performing well. Ben Mee clean sheet. Tom Heaton went off injured in that game, so I don't know what his prospects are going to be like for the next couple of weeks, clean sheet wise. But happy he got me one at the weekend. Thankfully, well, Aaron Moy didn't score. I'm saying thankfully he didn't score because I was going to have to sing the Australian national anthem in this video if he did score. So disappointed he didn't score in one sense. On the other hand, quite happy I don't have to sing because I don't have a musical note in my head. So, wise, Elliott 8 points. Foster only got 2. I'm not too bitter about that because I always would have played Foster ahead of him that week. So it's just good that a 4 million keeper's playing and actually playing quite well with clean sheet potential. So apart from that, bench was pretty standard. So I won't waste any more time there. I'm going to jump in. So I'm just going to show you what I do every week with a watch list. Actually, I'm just going to go back because the first thing I usually do is I have a quick look at the dream team. Always like to have a quick look at that. You always have unexpected names there, but it's always a good place to start for the watch list if there's anyone there who's not already on my watch list who I want to add. So I've got Davies. I've got anyone else. I've got Kane, so I've only got 2 of these. I've got Elliott on the bench, so points. He was very impressive actually. He made a very good goal line clearance from Tammy Abraham as well. That Richie corner. He looks a big threat from set pieces, so I think he's 4.5. Yeah, so he's one I'm going to add to the watch list straight away. Kiko at Watford. A lot of people have been talking him up. I haven't actually seen too much of Watford this season so far, apart from the highlights, so I can't really make a really good judgment on him. But as far as on Twitter is concerned, he seems to be quite popular. He is doubtful, having picked up a knock. I think he went to hospital after the game. I don't know what it was for, but Watford look very good under Marco Silva. They look very well organised. They're definitely a team I'm looking at. I put a tweet out about Holebas. I mean, he's such a card magnet, but he was taking free kicks at the weekend again. I think Holebas is 5 million. As I say, he's a real card magnet. Kiko, I think, is 4.5. Yeah, so cheaper option. So I'm going to add him to the watch list as well, rather than Holebas. I just can't go back to Holebas. I think he got something like 15 yellow cards last season. He's already got sent off as well this season in the cup. So he's just too much of a liability, even though he is good going forward. Gross, 18 points. I mean, that kind of came out of nowhere. He didn't do much in the first couple of games. 5.4 million, I'm pretty sure he is. Again, it's the first attacking returns he's got this season. I'm not too interested in a player after one good game week. I'm much more interested still in Knockhart at Brighton. So for now, I'm going to leave Gross off the watch list. I'm going to keep an eye on him, see if he can put a bit of consistency together, and then I'll think about him more. United against Stoke, and Choupo-Moting was very, very impressive. Not just with his 2 goals, his all-round play was really, really good. He's basically playing as a striker as well. He's a player. I actually didn't realise he was a midfielder until this weekend. I just presumed he was a striker because of where he was playing. But he's very attractive. 5.5 million in FPL as a midfielder who's playing quite far forward. He's definitely one who I'm adding to the watch list this week. Fixture wise, not great, but I wouldn't be jumping on him again after one good game week. I'll be keeping an eye on him. Something stands out in my head as well from during pre-season. I was reading some quotes from Mark Hughes when they signed him, or after he trained with him for a couple of weeks, and Mark Hughes said during pre-season that people were going to be surprised with the quality of Choupo-Moting. So I mean, we've seen it against United. He's definitely an option, and can he be this season's Josh King? We won't be getting too excited yet, but let's see. Sané came off the bench to score a brace. He's a rotation risk, so I'm not going to add him to the watch list. We all know what Pep Guardiola is like. It's a minefield picking City players, especially in the midfield. So until Sané gets a consistent run of starts, I won't be adding him to the watch list. West Ham got a win, badly needed for Bilic. Pressure's been on him. Obiang scored a goal. I mean, he's absolutely no interest to me in FPL. Welbeck, I mean, eyebrows were raised when he started again with Sanchez on the bench, but he produced the goods. 3 goals and assists in his first 4 games. I mean, he doesn't interest me though. He's always liable to find himself on the bench any given game week, so I'm not really interested in Welbeck. I mean, don't need to mention him. Jesus was very impressive again for City. Scored 2. I think he got an assist as well. He got his 2 goals. He had one chalked off for offside as well. He seems to be Pep's man. Taken off after 56 minutes, but the game was already won. Champions League is coming up, so that's not really a worry. He's already on my watch list, and he's definitely staying there. He's definitely ahead of my thoughts in the coming weeks. It's just the whole thing with Pep Guardiola and rotation, Champions League. You just never know who's going to be on the bench each week, so you've got to be wary with City players. So that's the dream team. What I do then is I jump in. First thing I do is I look at my current watch list and I remove any players from it who maybe didn't play or who are not in form or maybe picked up an injury. So I've got 37 on the watch list at the minute. I'm just going to have a quick look through it to see if there's any players I want to get rid of from the watch list. Alonso's staying there. He's someone I'm thinking about very, very soon. Schindler didn't get a clean sheet against West Ham, but he was very impressive again. He's going to stay there. Maguire, when Leicester's fixtures pick up, I'll be looking at him. Phil Jones, he's banned for the Champions League this week. He's a great route into the United defence at 5.1 million. He's staying on my watch list. I've already got Bertrand, Cedric. I don't really fancy the Southampton double up anytime soon. Remove Cedric from the watch list. Now, I know they've got good fixtures, but they were very poor at the weekend against Watford. Kyle Naughton, superb again at the weekend. I know they didn't keep a clean sheet, but he got a lot of touches in the opposition's half. He's a real threat going forward, and Swansea will keep more clean sheets. So very good value, 4.5. He's staying there. Looking at midfielders, then I've got Mkhitaryan, but Pogba's still in my thoughts. I don't really fancy the treble up at the minute, but he's staying on the watch list for now. Matt Ritchie, he's very prone to bookings. He's got 3 yellow cards already. Very lucky not to get sent off for the challenge of Alfie Mawson. It's very similar to Mane's challenge. In 2 now, though, he's on set pieces. He's on corners, probably free kicks, and he's very likely on penalties as well. So he's very much in my thoughts. And fixtures, not too bad. Stoke and Brighton next. So he's definitely in my thoughts this week for my Game Week 5 transfer. But there'll be more on that in Friday's video. I went for Eriksen last week over Ali, so I'm quite happy with that so far. I've got triple Spurs now. I always like to keep Ali on my watch list though, so he'll stay there. Richarlison didn't get in on the act at the weekend, but his stats are always good every week. He's getting loads of touches in the box. I just want to see a little bit more from him before I put him in. Antonio was superb. Again, didn't get any assists or goals, but his all-round performance was superb. I mean, the speed and power he has is just it's like he's not human sometimes, the way he goes past play. He just knocks the ball past players and beats them to it. Well, he's just an awkward price, 7.5. It's a lot of money to invest in a West Ham asset. Again, Gross was the hero for Brighton at the weekend, but Knockaert is still probably the one I favour at Brighton. He's going to be on my thoughts this week as well. Brady didn't do much at the weekend. I think he got booked at the weekend as well. But with Burnley, I just prefer their defence and their goalkeeper. I'm never too keen on going on their midfielders or forwards. I'll keep him on the watch list for now though, just to see how he goes. Sigurdsson's a player I'm going to get rid of from the watch list. He's just too expensive. Hasn't done anything yet. We all know what he can do, but until he starts performing, Everton have been really, really poor with all the new signings. I think 7 of the players who started against Spurs were new signings during the summer, so it's going to take them a while to gel. Worth avoiding them for now. Sanchez will always be on my watch list. No plans to bring him in yet. He's too expensive. Starting on the bench at the weekend, so I need to see some returns from him before bringing him in. Same with Hazard. I'll give him time. When he hits form, then I'll start thinking about bringing him in. Salah's been superb. Liverpool a wee bit now with Mane suspended. Their output tends to drop off a little bit when he's out. So I've got Firmino up front, so I'm happy enough to go with just one Liverpool attacker for the time being, but I'll keep Salah on the watch list for now. Maric, I mean, every season he's got the stats, but he's only got 1 goal so far. He only played 45 minutes at the weekend. Southampton had their first shot on target in the 92nd minute, so I mean they're just pretty toothless up front. He's gone from my watch list. Coutinho's going to come back into the frame soon. He's on my watch list. I'll just keep a close eye on him when he returns. I won't go into too much detail about the strikers. I want to get into the team-by-team analysis and players I want to add. Jesus is there already explained him. Vardy's a player I'll be looking at in the next few weeks as well. He's got 3 goals. If Leicester are going to score, chances are he's going to be involved. Lacazette as well started up front after being benched in game week 3. He's pretty likely to start every week from now on, and Arsenal have got, I think, pretty decent fixtures, so he is an option. But I'm pretty happy with Lukaku and Kane at the moment, so it's just watch list for now for Lacazette for me. A lot of people are looking at Morata this week. He's been playing really well, both for Chelsea and Spain, so he's going to be a popular transfer in this week. As I say, I'm happy with Lukaku and Kane for now. But if Morata keeps doing what he's doing, I'm going to really have to consider bringing him in, especially with the fact I don't have any Chelsea players at all at the minute. Huddersfield really struggled against West Ham, so I thought Mooney actually came off during that game. No, maybe it was Kachunga that came off. So he played 90 minutes, but he did very little. He's got his 2 goals in game week 1, and he hasn't done an awful lot since. So until he starts scoring again, he's gone from my watch list. He's putting up some pretty impressive stats with shots on target. He had 5 or 6 again this week, so he's definitely an option as a third striker. He's very cheap, 5.5 million. He's another player who's in my thoughts. Will Boney take away some of his game time? Only time will tell with that one. So he'll stay on the watch list for now. I need to see more from him though before thinking about bringing him in. Chicharito hit the bar against Huddersfield. He was taken off early as well, which was pretty frustrating because I know a lot of people captained him this week as well. He only played 63 minutes. Bilic did say it was just a matter of freshening things up, and I mean they got the goals then, so it was a good move from Bilic in the end. But I would expect Hernandez to play 90 minutes most weeks, so I wouldn't be too worried about him being taken off early. He's got 2 goals. He hit the bar, so he remains a good option. Again, Rooney, Everton. I think they've only had 6 shots on target all season. Rooney's got 2 goals. I mean, he's going back to United. Is it written that he'll go back to Old Trafford and score? Fixtures after that as well are pretty decent, so I'm going to keep him on the watch list for now. I'll see how he does it against United, and then you never know, I might think about bringing him in from game week 6 onwards. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anyone. There's Holgate. Holgate last few weeks he didn't start game week 4. Martina played right back, so it's time for me to remove Holgate from the watch list. I was hoping he'd be a cheap route into the Everton defence, but there's just no guarantees he's going to play every week. Aurier, Trippier started the weekend, but I would expect Aurier to come in game week 5. 6 million. He's a player. I wouldn't be bringing him in until I see him starting, but he's definitely an option at 6 million. He could become an option in the next couple of weeks. Agazi, time for him to go from the watch list and keep a clean sheet. And he only played 56 minutes. Gareth McCauley's back in action. He played for the under-23s or whatever it is during the week. So Agazi's place is really under threat now. So I definitely wouldn't be bringing him in. If you do own him, it might be time to cash in if you've made a few bob on him. Because, I mean, once he loses his place, his value is going to drop big time. One of my golden rules in fantasy is never to sign a Liverpool defender, so I don't really know why Alexander Arnold is on my watch list. So he had a pretty poor game against City, so he could even lose his place to the likes of Gomez or even Milner at right back. So he's gone from my watch list this week as well. Come on, internet, play the game. So I want to see if there's anyone else now. Mane, 3-game ban. I know Liverpool are appealing it. Can't see it being reduced, so he's gone from the watch list as well. That's it. So, well, there's Krul actually. So I never really keep goalkeepers on the watch list because I don't change my goalkeeper too often. The reason I had Krul there was I was interested to see whether he came in and started ahead of Ryan because he was only 4 million, which would have gave us an Elliott Krul combo of 8 million starting goalkeepers. It wasn't the case. Ryan kept his place, so that's more than likely going to be the way it's going to stay. So that's Krul gone from the watch list as well. So what I do now is once I've removed the players from the watch list that I don't want there anymore, I go team by team and I check. I go team by team and I hit round score to see how they've done in game week in the latest game week, and then I'll just add the players that I feel I need to add to the watch list. Now with 20 teams going through them team by team, this is going to take quite a while, so I'm going to do it as quickly as I can. I want to drag on, and I want this video to be as short as possible. So quickly looking at Arsenal. Straight away, Kolasinac playing at left wing back in game week 4, got his assist. He's definitely a player straight on my watch list now. If he stays left wing back, he's going to be coming into my team pretty soon. Bellerin plays right wing back as well, but I just think for the 0.1 more, Kolasinac is much better going forward from corners as well. So he'd be my pick of the Arsenal defence at the moment. Ramsey got an assist. Still doesn't really interest me though. Ozil, I mean, he's got all the stats for touches. He's right up there with touches and chances created again, but he hasn't even got one assist this season. So 9.5 million, no way am I going near him. Already on the watch list. When I am looking through the watch list, I'm not just looking at the players who have played. It's always good to check the players who didn't play as well in case there's a player coming back from suspension as well. It's always easy to miss a player. So there's nobody really there from Arsenal though. As I say, Welbeck's not really of interest to me. Lacazette's already on the watch list. I'm going to do this as quickly as I can. Bournemouth next. They haven't won a game this season. From 4 games. I mean, Frank de Boer lost his job for the same thing at Palace. If they don't start performing soon, Eddie Howe could be under pressure soon, which sounds crazy to say with how impressive they were last season, but that's football for you. They need to get their act together fast. I've got Charlie Daniels. I'm probably going to play him this week against Brighton. He's the only real player from Bournemouth defensively I'm interested in. Midfielders, there's nobody really there. They haven't done anything this season. Up front, King and Defoe, they haven't really done much, so they're not on my watch list. I need to see more from them before I add them. So yeah, Charlie Daniels is the only one from Bournemouth really at the moment. Brighton, both centre backs, Dunk and Duffy. I've been impressed by them in an attacking sense. They both look like they've got goals in them. I see myself bringing any of them in. Obviously, I've got Sutner already, so I wouldn't be bringing in a second Brighton defender, but offer good value defensively with those 4.5 options. Any of those in Sutner, I think they can all produce attacking returns, so keep them in mind. I already mentioned Gross. I'm not going to jump on him after one good game week. I'm not even going to add him to the watch list yet. If he gets an assist maybe next week, then I'll add him to the watch list. Trust me, he's already on my watch list. I'm trying to see if there's anything else there. Nothing really jumps out to me in midfield. Hamed scored at the weekend. And what I don't like about him is his minutes. I mean, the first 2 games he got less than 60. You rate him, so I mean he's not one for my watch list at the moment. If he can put a run together where he gets a few goals, then maybe. So with Brighton, it's only really defensively or the likes of Knockhart or maybe even Gross who are in my thoughts. Burnley, Ben Mee got his clean sheet for me, so I was happy with that. Heaton's out injured now, so offer us good value at 4.5. He's not for me at the moment just because I've got Ben Mee, but for anyone who doesn't have Burnley defensive options, Pope could be an option because with a dislocated shoulder, Heaton's probably going to be out for quite a while. Stephen Ward's had a good start to the season. He's getting forward from left back. Loughton likewise at right back. I think all of these, all four of Burnley's defenders are good value at 4.5. I'm quite happy to sit on Mee for the time being. He has been a threat from set pieces, so as I say, I'm quite happy there. Burnley are another team where when I look at them in fantasy, those are goalkeepers I'm looking at because they tend not to score very many goals. Brady's on my watch list for now. He's the only one in the midfield and I'm really interested in there. On Chris Wood, he's got 2 and 2, so he is on the radar, but the attackers don't really interest me. If he can score another 1 or 2 in the next few weeks, then maybe I'll look at him. 6.5. He's not too bad value wise. Fixtures kind of mixed. I'm not going to add him to the watch list just now, but as I say, if he can score again in game week 5, to the watch list then. He's the only striker there that really interests me. Next up, Chelsea assets at the minute. Alonso's already on my watch list. I will be thinking about bringing him in soon, especially if I play the wild card anytime soon. I don't have any plans to play it yet, but if things go wrong in the next few weeks, he'll definitely be one who I'll be more than likely bringing in on a wild card. They've got Arsenal, so I probably expect Arsenal to score there. So I don't really see him getting a clean sheet. A good chance he gets his attack in return. So fixture-wise are a little bit mixed. So I'm happy enough to go without him for the time being. His price is not really shitting up too much, so I'll still be able to afford him. He's the one I'd be going to for defensively. I mean, I don't really fancy any of the others. They're just quite costly. One to note there, who's on 0 for game week 4 because he was suspended. Cahill's dropped in value now. He's down to 6.3. He was suspended for 3 games. He's on -3 for the season, but he's always a goal threat. I think he got 6 last season. Yeah, 6 goals last season. So I mean, he's more than likely going to get a few this season as well. So after Alonso, he would be next in line when I look at the Chelsea defense. He could be flying under the radar a little bit now as well because he was suspended. Look at that. N'Golo Kante, there's nothing the man can't do. 10 points in game week 4. Don't get too excited. Stay away from him. Flash in the pan. He's not going to score many goals this season. Chelsea midfield doesn't interest me at the minute. I had Willian for the first few weeks. He's done very little. Hazard's the man I'd be looking at, but I want to give him a game or two, see how he is fitness-wise as well. I wouldn't be rushing to get him in. Keep an eye on him in the Champions League this week as well. See how he goes. Already mentioned Morata. He's high in my thoughts. Probably won't be bringing him in this week, but if he keeps going the way he's going, he's very hard to ignore. Diego Costa, I just love seeing 0-0-0-0 beside his name every week because if you follow me on Twitter last season, you'll know how much pain he caused me. He scored 20 goals last season. I think I owned him 4 or 5 times last season, and I missed every single one of his goals. Just very happy that I don't have to worry about him anymore in fantasy. You know, I just hope I hope it stays that way. I hope he doesn't join anyone on loan or anything like that, or even worse. I hope he doesn't come back into the Chelsea team at any point. Palace. I'm actually not even going to click on Palace because they've just been awful. He's been sacked now as well, so we might get some value in their players in the coming weeks, but we just need to wait and see which manager comes in and how they set up. So I wouldn't be bringing in any Palace assets for the time being. Benteke's been shocking this season. The likes of Fosu Mensah, who we thought would offer good value, they haven't kept any. I'm pretty sure they haven't kept any clean sheets either. So avoid Palace for now. Wait and see who comes in and how they set up. Likewise, Everton, they've been pretty poor, so I really don't see myself adding anyone to my watch list from Everton. I want to see an improvement from them before I look at bringing in any of their players. There's just so many new signings who've come in and they're really struggling to create chances and even keep clean sheets. So Rooney's probably about the highest there in my thoughts, but I'll see how he plays against United. Maybe we'll see after that. Huddersfield, very impressive start, but became crashing back down to earth with a 2-0 defeat to West Ham on Monday night. Defensively, I do think they remain good options, goalkeeper and defensively. Schindler's been impressive. Zanka's been impressive as well, so those two are good options. I've got Aaron Moy. I'm happy enough to keep him for another week or two. I mean, I brought him in for game week 2 and I got his goal, so it was anything more than that would be a bonus. So he's still involved in a lot of the play. He's on set pieces and he does pretty well in the bonus point system as well because he's really good in possession. He rarely gives the ball away. Leicester and Burnley up next, so I'm just hoping he can get something from those two. And I'll probably be moving him on pretty soon. Tom Ince, I know a lot of people went for him at the start of the season. He's done nothing, no goals, no assists. But he did have 6 shots against West Ham on Monday night, so he is an alternative to Aaron Moy. He's not for me though. With a player who's done nothing in the first 4 game weeks, I'm not really interested. But the stats are decent. Mooney, I already mentioned him. He hasn't done much since game week 1, so I would imagine a lot of people will be getting rid of him this week if they've had him since game week 1. So he doesn't interest me at the time for the time being. Leicester, already mentioned Vardy. Fixture wise, I don't think it's too bad. Yeah, so decent fixtures. Liverpool are always good to concede, so he's definitely an option. 8.5. He's only 10% owned, so he could be somewhat of a differential for the next few weeks if you're looking for a striker. We haven't seen much of Iheanacho yet. He could be an option when he gets game time. Mahrez is too expensive for what his output is so far. Nobody really else there who interests me. I already mentioned Maguire. I'll be looking at him maybe in a couple of weeks' time. Fuchs is another good option. He gets forward, takes some set pieces. Yeah, apart from that, it's only Vardy really there. Liverpool coming off a 5-0 defeat. Defenders, and I very rarely look at Liverpool defenders. The only reason he was in there really was because he was on set pieces as well. Salah's already on my watch list. Coutinho's on my watch list. Mane's banned now, so there's no one else really there. Firmino's already in my team to go with one Liverpool player for the time being, so that's Liverpool covered. Now the dreaded Man City and the dreaded rotation. It's a minefield in here. Ederson, he doesn't seem to be too bad after his injury, so he'll probably be in goal again in game week 5. Mendy was a player who impressed me a lot against Liverpool. His crosses are on the money every time. So I know he's very expensive at 6.5, but he's definitely one for the watch list going forward. Walker's the same price. You could argue that Walker's just as attractive as Mendy, but I think if I was you, I'd be on Mendy at the moment. City do seem to be better defensively this season, so there's a couple of 5.5 million options there as well. John Stones, no thanks. If the scars are still there from last season. But again, rotation is the issue here. De Bruyne played much further forward. I wouldn't be knee-jerking back to him if you got rid of him, because who's to say he won't play defensively again in the next couple of weeks. So he's got his 2 assists, but he could easily go another couple of weeks now without anything. So again, Silva doesn't really interest me. Just look at the list. Look how many midfielders Pep has to choose from. So, I mean, any of those players can play in any given week. So that's why I'm avoiding the City midfield for the time being. It's up front where I'm probably most interested. Jesus has been very impressive, and he seems to be Pep's man. He seems to play whenever he's fit. So if I'm going to go for a City striker, it's going to be Jesus, because as we've seen, Aguero can find himself on the bench at times. Jesus is cheaper, so I've mentioned a few times I'm happy with Lukaku and Kane for now, but the likes of Morata and Jesus definitely are in my thoughts. Fixture-wise, Champions League could be an issue, but Jesus is probably one of the players less likely to be rotated by Pep. Fixtures are good for the next 6, apart from Chelsea away, but who's to say they won't score there as well? He's definitely an option. 9% owned. Keep him in your thoughts this week for sure. Man City, up next United. So I've already got Mkhitaryan and Lukaku in my team. Phil Jones is on my watch list. He remains a good option. To go more expensive, he had the most touches in the final third of any defender in Gameweek 4, so he remains a big threat going forward, and obviously he has the clean sheets there as well. Darmian started ahead of Blind, so that probably kills Blind's fantasy potential. It's not worth having a defender or a player who's not guaranteed to start every week. Shaw's likely to get a chance as well at some point, so best to avoid the United left backs for the time being. Pogba remains on my watch list. As I say, I'm not keen on a triple up on Lukaku, Mkhitaryan and Pogba. I'm happy with Mkhitaryan for now, so Pogba is on my watch list, and he does remain a very good option in my opinion for anyone who doesn't own him. If you've got him, stick with him. Apart from that, United midfield, there's nobody really there who interests me. Lukaku, obviously, he's in my team. He's got 4 goals in 4 games. Quite well, but he's always a rotation risk, so he doesn't interest me. Trying to get through this as quickly as I can. Newcastle, Swansea, because Swansea played, I was quite impressed by Swansea in that game, but Newcastle sucked up the pressure for a lot of it and then got the winner from the corner. So it was a very good result from them. Defensively, they offer good value. Obviously, Elliott at 4 million, a starting goalkeeper who's getting clean sheets. It's a no-brainer to have him in your team, even if he's just your sub goalkeeper. I already added Lascelles to the watch list. Gomez played 4 million defender. Probably won't play every week though, so don't be in a rush to get him in. Apart from that, yeah, Lascelles would be my pick of those defenders. And Mbemba's ruled out now. I think it's probably for about a month, so best to avoid him as well. Already mentioned Richie. He's definitely in my thoughts for the weekend. The frustrating thing with him though is he does love a yellow card. He's got 3 already, so it probably won't be long before we see him with a 1-game ban for 5 yellow cards. But I'm not going to let that put me off him, because he's on all the set pieces, probably on penalties as well. So he does look a great option. Atsu was benched at the weekend, so I know a lot of people have him as well. It was probably frustrating, but I would probably expect him to start in game week 5, because Murphy didn't really play very well. He started, he didn't play very well. So I would expect Atsu to come back into the starting lineup next week. Already mentioned Hosselu. Pretty sure he's already on my watch list. He's got a goal, but it's his stats that are the most impressive for the last couple of weeks. He's been matching the likes of Lukaku and not Kane, but the likes of Lukaku and Morata for shots in the box and things like that. So he's been a threat. He's definitely an option as a cheap third striker. Southampton. The thing about Southampton, they've just offered so little going forward. So I'm not even going to scroll down to their midfielders and forwards. I'm just going to focus on their defence and goalkeeper. Anyone who went with Gabbiadini from Game Week 1, I mean, I think he's only got 1 goal. A lesson from Gabbiadini last season. It's not. I don't think it's even Gabbiadini. It's the players around him don't create enough chances for him. And the thing I don't understand about Southampton, they've scored so few goals this season, and then they've got Charlie Austin, who's a proven Premier League goal scorer, sitting on the bench. So I would like to see him getting more starts, and if he was getting more starts, he would be a player that I would definitely be interested in getting him. So as I say, I'm not even going to look at their midfielders and forwards. I got rid of Tadic from my watch list already. So I own Bertrand. Happy enough to keep him because their fixtures are decent. As I said, I don't really fancy doubling up on the Southampton defence. Yoshida lost his place to the new signing, Hoet, or I don't even know how you pronounce that. I'm just going to call him Wesley. So he came in. They didn't keep a clean sheet, so who's to say he'll keep his place? Yoshida could even come back in, but there's always doubts over Stevens' place as well. I mean, surely Van Dijk, with his quality, he has to come back in at some point as well soon. So if you're wanting to bring in a Southampton defender, focus on these two, Cedric and Bertrand. They're wing backs and they're guaranteed to start as well. So avoid the centre backs. Forster's an option in goal as well. The only thing about Forster, he's 5 million. I just think there's better value in the 4.5 million goalkeepers as well. That's why I'm not adding them to the watch list. Just a couple more teams to go, and then we'll wrap up the video. As I say, I don't want to drag on too much. I want to focus on keeping the content good and not dragging on too much. Spurs. I've got my Spurs trio. Ben Davies, Eriksen and Kane, and I'm very happy with those 3. So I'm just going to have a quick look. I've already got Aurier on the watch list, so I wouldn't be bringing in Trippier now with Aurier waiting in the wings. The boy Sanchez got his first start at centre-back, so he started in a back 3 alongside Vertonghen and Alderweireld. So, I mean, he could be an option. With those 3, they're all the same price at 6 million. If I was going for one of those 3, it would be Alderweireld all day long. He offers the most threat going forward. Probably hasn't scored enough goals as he should have towards the end of last season and the start of this season. So Spurs are the obvious choice. Davies, 5.7 now. In my opinion, he is the most essential player in FPL at the moment. Given how much he's getting forward, he's taking corners. He's creating so many chances. I wouldn't be worried about Danny Rose too much. I don't see Rose coming back in anytime soon. Even when he is fit, Davies has been playing so well, so I don't see him being dropped in a hurry. Rose made some comments about the club during the summer as well, so who's to say he won't get his place back at all because of that? If Pochettino's happy with Davies, he might just make Rose set it out on the bench. So, or he might end up playing Rose in Europe. I've got Eriksen. Ali remains a good option. If I was choosing between the two this week, it would be Eriksen. Apart from that, there's nobody really there. Llorente's going to be a bit part player, so don't be going near him. Stoke, first name that pops up is Choupo-Moting. Already mentioned, very impressed by him at the weekend. He's going to be in my thoughts for my Game Week 5 transfer. He's already on my watch list. Shaqiri's always an option, but I mean between those two, it's got to be Choupo-Moting now because he's playing further forward than Shaqiri. Shaqiri's very injury prone as well. Esse, some people jumped on him after one game. It's never a good idea. It's better to see a bit of consistency before jumping on these kind of players. Up front, Jif has been playing. I think he's been playing right wing back. So don't get excited by his assist. He's probably not going to do too much this season. Really hasn't done much. He's so highly rated, but he's not really producing the goods. Butland's a great goalkeeper. Again, like Forster, 5 million. I just prefer the 4.5 million options, and even Elliott at 4 million. Newcastle to keep as many clean sheets as Stoke. So Elliott at 4 million, I prefer than Butland at 5 million. Zuma played very well up against Lukaku. He kept Lukaku very quiet. I know Lukaku got his goal, but apart from that, Zuma shackled him very well. He is expensive at 5.5 million though for a Stoke defender. I'm much more interested in Wimmer, 4.4. Great value into a Stoke defence. Fixtures are not ideal, but down the line, he's definitely, especially when it comes to playing my wild card in a couple of weeks' time, he'll definitely be in my thoughts. I'm going to add him to the watch list if he's not already there. Here we go. Cameron's another option, 4.5, but Wimmer's the one for me. Next up, Swansea. As I say, Swansea impressed me against Newcastle, even though they got beat 1-0. A very good option for a cheapish goalkeeper at 4.5. He's a much better goalkeeper now than he was when he was at Arsenal. He made one very, very good save in the game against Newcastle. I can't remember who it was from. Defensively, Nocton's the man, 4.5, getting forward. He's got clean sheet potential as well. So if you're looking for a 4.5 million defender, he's right up there. Mawson's always a goal threat. He came very close against Newcastle to score, and he was inches away. But I just think for the 0.57, it's worth going with Nocton. Renato Sanchez made his debut. He was very, very rusty. He gave away the ball on 23 occasions, which just gives you an idea of what kind of game he had. There was one point where he just gave away the ball and he is rusty. He clearly has the quality though, but it's just going to take him time to get up to speed. He's probably not going to be a fantasy option this season either. For 4.5 million, you can get Tom Carroll, who offers much more attack and threat. He takes set pieces. He was very close to scoring as well from open play. So I'm very happy to have him as my cheap fifth midfielder. I'll be happy to play him some weeks as well, because there's always a chance he will get attacking returns. Apart from that, Abraham, very close to scoring. I do think he remains a good option. When Boney comes into play, I do think Abraham and Boney will probably play together. Boney came on against Newcastle. He didn't really make much impact. He only played about 20 minutes. I won't be adding Boney to the watch list until I see some form from him and fitness as well. I mean, he's been on holiday for about 2 years, so he needs game time, and he needs goals to get the confidence back. And at 6 million, he could become a very good option in a couple of weeks' time. He's one to keep an eye on for the time being. Don't be rushing to get him now that he's back at Swansea. 3 teams left. Watford have been very impressive under Silva. Much better side than they were last season. Already added Kiko to the watch list. Good value, 4.5 million. Gomez is good value as well at 4.5 million. The only thing about him, he's always got a mistake in him. So if he can cut them out, he is a good option. I think fixture wise, it's tough enough. Man City, Arsenal, and Chelsea in the next 5. So it might not be the best time to be looking at Watford assets, but as I say, they are good value this season. Already mentioned Holebas. He's just too much of a liability though, with his propensity to get booked very often. Doucouré scored. Don't really see him doing that too often. Chalobah remains a very good option at 4.5. When it comes to 4.5 million options, Tom Carroll is the best in my opinion, but I'd probably put Chalobah second to that. So I'm just going to keep him on my watch list. His stats have been very good for shots in the first 4 game weeks. He's been taking a lot of shots at goal, so there's always the potential there for goals. Richarlison's already on my watch list. He remains a good option, but as I said, I need to see a little bit more from him before I consider putting him into my team. Strikers, they've got a lot of options. Not really interested in any of them. Richarlison's basically a striker who's playing midfield, so I prefer him to any of the Watford strikers. West Brom, disappointing at the weekend. No clean sheet again. Pulis is supposed to be the king of clean sheets, but I think they've had 2 out of 4 this season, which I guess is not too bad. Defensively, I've got Foster. I'm not going to double up because the double up frustrated me so much last season. If I'm looking to bring in a Watford defender this week, it's probably going to be Evans, just because he's the cheapest and he's guaranteed to play. It's hard to know how they're going to line up in the next couple of weeks, but Evans is definitely going to be a starter. The only thing is he's very injury prone. Yeah, Pulis seems to like Nyom. Nyom's been getting forward as well, so he is an option. But as I say, it's with Macaulay back, it's hard to know how they're going to line up defensively. West Brom are another team. When I look at them, I don't really look at their forwards or midfielders, so I'm not going to waste any time there. The only one I will mention is the Scottish guy, Burke. He went to Germany for big money from, I think it was Nottingham Forest. I think it was last. So West Brom have brought him in. He's very highly rated in Scotland. He's only 5.5 million. So he got an assist at the weekend. If he can get regular starts, he could become an option in the coming weeks. I think I might have called him Reese Burke there. I don't know why that is. There must be a player called Reese Burke, but it's Oliver Burke. I'm pretty sure this guy is. Yeah, Oliver Burke. He's a powerful midfielder who definitely has the potential going forward. Reese Burke, I think he plays for West Ham. That's probably what it is. West Ham, I slated West Ham in a couple of podcasts earlier in the season, but they did look decent against Huddersfield, even though Huddersfield were quite poor. Players that stood out to me, number 1 was Cresswell. So they lined up with 3 centre-backs, Collins, Font, and Reed played as 3 centre-backs, which allowed Zabaleta and Cresswell to get forward. They had a lot of touches in the final third. Cresswell was on set pieces as well. He was on corners and free kicks, so he's definitely one I'm adding to the watch list. I'm always wary with West Ham defenders though, because they don't keep very many clean sheets. But I will be watching Cresswell closely over the next couple of weeks. He definitely has the potential to get goals and assists, and if they can tighten with 3 centre backs, they might well get more clean sheets now. So Let's see. Second player that impressed me was Antonio. I mentioned a couple of times I've never really been a big fan of him in fantasy, even though he always does have post good stats. His price puts me off a little bit. It's a lot to invest in a West Ham player, but he was superb against Huddersfield, and he's definitely a player I'm thinking about now. Pretty sure he's already on my watch list. Yeah. He's the midfielder I'd be looking at from West Ham. I mean, Arnautovic has dropped in price now because of his ban. I'm pretty sure he's back in game week 5. So those two are both good options. Strikers, Big Andy was back. I think it was his first game in 5 months. He huffed and puffed up front. He bullied the defenders. I think he got 6 shots on target, which was pretty impressive. But the thing about him is he's always just a sneeze away from his next injury. So just I would probably say avoid him until he gets 3 or 4 starts in him without any injuries, because as I say, once you get him in, he's more than likely to pick up an injury. Look at that. He's only owned by 0.1%. So if you're looking for the ultimate differential, there you go, but he's not for me. Chicharito, already mentioned him. Watch list. He hit the bar against Huddersfield. He's a goal scorer, so keeping him on my watch list. So that's it. That wraps up the 20 teams. I wanted to get through it as quickly as possible. This is something I want to do every week, just to give you an insight into the players I'm thinking about for my weekly transfer. So, as I say, every week I jump in, score. So now when it comes to making a transfer this Friday, it's much easier. I can just look at my watch list now. 33 players rather than going through all the team lists. I've got all the players I'm interested in one place now. So as I say, I'm going to do another video on Friday, which will look at my transfer options for ahead of game week 5. I'll make my transfer during that video as well. Another thing I'd like to probably do in that video is I'd like to take some questions probably from Twitter and answer some of them in the video. So I'll put a tweet out about that closer to the time and maybe answer 5 or 10 of the best questions from Twitter. I'll have a quick look at the mini leagues as well in Friday's video. So the aim would be probably 2 videos a week. This video early in the week would be focused solely on the watch list, updating the watch list, letting you know what players I'm looking at. And hopefully it'll be helpful for some managers who are looking to make transfers as well this week and every week. So as I say, I haven't had a chance to invest in proper equipment yet, microphones, and I will get a webcam added soon. As I say, I hope the sound in this one comes through okay. But just bear in mind that the quality of things will improve in the coming weeks, and I'm going to do some work as well with graphics and just the layout of the screen as well. I'll get that all sorted in time. I wanted just to focus on getting some content out there first, and I mean, at the end of the day, the content is the most important. So I hope this content's helpful. What am I left to say? If you did find the video helpful, give it a like, give it a share it on whatever platforms you use. Retweet it on Twitter when I put it up as well, just to I want to get it out there that I'm on YouTube now as well. So yeah, like the video, subscribe as well so you won't miss out on any of the future videos. Subscribe to the channel. It's FPL General. What else am I left to say? What I would say as well, any comments you have about my watch list, leave them in the comments below. If there's any players I didn't add, you think I should add to the watch list, leave them in the comments below. Likewise, any players I've added that you wouldn't add to your watch list, leave it in the comments, and I'll be replying to people in the YouTube comments as well. So it's another place for you to interact with me. I'm always up for interaction on Twitter as well. You can get me there at FPL General. I'm using Instagram a bit more often as well this season. You can get me there as well. It's FPL General as well. As I say, next video should be coming on Friday where I'll do the transfer. I'll look at many leagues as well, and I'll probably take some questions from Twitter. All I'm left to say now is enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy the Champions League action. Don't rush into any transfers. And I'll talk to you all again on Friday.